Hello everyone, this is a demo of my application, Facial Navigation Assistant, version 1.0. It is a separate application that will work alongside Motion Input to guide users on how to use Motion Input effectively. Additionally, it works on improving the overall experience with Motion Input. Let's start the demo. We begin with a home page from which a user, by clicking on a Start button, is navigated into a guide selection page. As you can see, there are three types of guides available to the user. Starting with the default guide, it is a guide that does not require from user any setups and guides users how to interact with the computer using the default interaction, which is nose tracking and facial expressions. After clicking on Start for the default guide, user will see a joystick guide. This guide, using GIFs, explains to user how to use the joystick with motion input effectively. Next, moving on to a gesture guide that teaches users how with certain facial expressions they can do interactions like left hold or double click. Except these two guides, users are also offered various tutorials that explain how to use particular interaction setups with commonly used applications and platforms. Users can also launch motion input within this application. By doing that, they won't have to go through the procedure of setting up the interaction anymore, as motion input already knows what we would like to use. Additionally, users are also offered a frequently asked questions page, and within settings, they could put motion input onto a Windows startup. If user wishes to choose a personalized guide after clicking on the Start button, they will be navigated to a questionnaire page. As you can see, user is being asked 3 questions that will help the application determine which interaction setup will be the most suitable for them. This is the result page, and depending on our answers, we may see different results here. In this case, basing on our answers, we are suggested to use nose tracking and facial expressions. If we don't agree with the suggested interaction, we can always go back to the guide selection page. Personalized guide requires from users to specify interactions, so this way the interaction setup will be customized to their specific needs. The responses here are later saved in motion input, so users won't have to repeat the setup procedure anymore. GIFs on this page are meant to help users understand what we mean by certain facial expressions. User is now in their personalized guide. Joystick guide, as before, explains how to operate the joystick with motion input. Since this is personalized guide, the gesture guide will only show what we chose in the previous setup. Users, as before, are also offered various tutorials. They can run motion input within this app, see frequently asked questions page, and go to settings to put motion input onto Windows Startup. With Speech Guide is the last available guide to the users. It asks users to choose one from 2 motions inputs interactions operated by speech. As you can see, the informative bar informs us that eye gaze is still experimental and hence the guide for it might be missing certain components. For the purpose of this demo, option 1 was chosen. Next page asks us if we would like to change certain things, but for this demo, let's assume that we are happy with the default settings. We click on Next, and we're navigated to the With Speech Guide. Joystick Guide now has additional GIFs since this interaction setup offers speech commands for joystick. Secondly, instead of a gesture guide, users will see a speech guide that shows all available speech commands and their actions. Tutorials are also offered, such as how to set up a meeting on Teams. Click Transcribe Meeting. Stop transcribe. As before, users can also run motion input within this app, see frequently asked questions page, and go to settings to put motion input on Windows Startup. That will be the end of my demo. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it.